I refuse to give up when it comes to ICP, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, my kind of perception when it comes to the internet computer is that for a project at this stage that is this fundamentally sound, I just don't want to give up because, sure, ICP is hovering at around $3. It's having a pullback, but what project out there that is famous is randomly just going on a random rally of its own? You know what I mean? The thing is, not many projects out there experiencing that. I've seen like random microcaps, but who knows what's going on there, right? But generally speaking, these pretty famous projects like in the top 100, top 200 and all this, they're just having a pullback. Take a look at Bitcoin. So it's not an isolated event where it's just only ICP. The thing is this, because ICP has had a pullback, now it's around 30 times lower than $100 actually. The thing is, if I take a look at my intention to dollar cost average, I would be happier dollar cost averaging at a lower point as opposed to if the point was higher. It just makes more logical sense to me. However, as of right now, it's literally back at around $3. Sure, I couldn't control that back when ICP was around $18, but now it's back at around $3. I don't know if I'd complain about that personally for dollar cost averaging purposes in my perception, even though I can't speak on anyone's behalf. But also, let's take this into consideration. Dfinity is not just simply being lazy, right? They're still doing things. Like, for instance, planning Caffeine AI 2.0. We take a look at the recent World Computer Day event that they had. Also, on top of that as well, we take a look at, for instance, chain fusion when it comes to the internet computer. And we take a look at the Solana and ICP integration. So it's not like the internet computer is just cooked like that, right? The thing is, if the team gave up, then that's a completely different case. Like, for instance, I just want to reference another project that I was talking about in the past, and I've given up on that project, by the way, pretty much. But I'm just saying, the reason why is because not too long ago, the Cadena organization announced that they were going to be ceasing operations. So the thing is, what's going to happen to Cadena as a project if that happens, right? Sure, I mean, it's still going to just survive, but what is the substance? I have not seen a moment where Dfinity just gave up. If Dfinity gave up, then that's a completely different case. I'd probably give up as well when it comes to the internet computer. But I just simply haven't seen that. And the thing for me is, for a project that I like fundamentally, I just don't want to give up if it's not an isolated event, right? If let's say the team is still holding good, if let's say it's just a season where a bunch of altcoins are not doing good, if it's just a moment in general where things are having a pullback, it's not something for me to just give up on. This is my perspective, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. It would be a different case if, let's say, a bunch of projects are doing good and ICP is just doing this and kind of not doing anything, then that's a completely different case. Or if, let's say, the space overall was doing good, things are having a rally, and then suddenly the team gave up, then, whoa, okay, that's a completely different case. However, unless those drastic situations happened, I simply just don't want to give up. This is my perception. If I take a look at it overall, sometimes it's easy for me to kind of feel like, oh, I'm the only one experiencing this. I feel alone. Sometimes it's easy to feel that way. But the thing is, I have to sometimes consider that there's over 600 million owners within this space. So let's just take this into consideration. There's pretty much over 600 million individuals experiencing what I am as of right now within this space. Because I don't only hold ICP, by the way, right? With over 500 million other individuals. It's not like me alone and then no one else is experiencing it. It's literally me along with a bunch of other individuals. So it's like, okay, am I just going to give up like that? Personally, I don't want to because I still like the project. I still like the fundamentals. And because I am looking to dollar cost average, if things are temporarily low, it's not something I am necessarily upset about because isn't that kind of the whole point for me, right? In some cases, when it comes to temporarily dollar cost averaging, but this is my perception. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, also, if I take a look at fundamentally speaking, is Caffeine AI a flawed design? I don't think so. The reason why I think that hasn't had much adoption as of late is because the timing of it was, according to many people, not necessarily the best in terms of, arguably, people like to say, the sentiment when it comes to altcoins. Now, when it comes to that, however, personally for me, I don't think there's a bad time to improve. If a project wants to improve, why not just do it? Why wait? This is sometimes my perspective, even just in real life. If I want to improve, I'll just do it. I'm not going to wait for certain things. I'm just going to try to improve. But besides that, the adoption when it comes to caffeine AI has been a little bit sort of hindered, right? It has been sort of, I guess, suppressed a little bit because the thing is, it wasn't at a time when altcoins were doing the best. That's the thing. That's why when I take a look at something like caffeine AI, I don't think it is fundamentally flawed. I just think that it wasn't aligning well with the timing of altcoins doing good. That's the thing. But it doesn't mean that I think it's a bad thing. I just think that eventually later, though, it could be different because I like it fundamentally. Keep in mind, it's a self-writing apps platform. That's the thing. It's a little bit revolutionary, actually, considering how Dfinity is not necessarily the biggest thing out there, but they did that anyways. And also on top of that, we have to consider when the market starts doing better, what do people usually want to do, right? These developers, sometimes they want to make new apps. That's the thing. And are they maybe going to use something like Caffeine AI, a self-writing apps platform? Are they going to try to use AI to maybe build something? Who knows? But at least the option is there. That's the way to take a look at it. So I think that right there is suited for a time when developers start entering into the space. And that usually happens when the market does a lot better. So sure, things may look a certain way as of right now, but things fundamentally that Dfinity is doing, it's kind of geared in a way where it's suited for a moment in which the sentiment changes. So I just haven't given up. This is my perception. It's a little bit hard for me to just give up like that because I've been holding ICP for quite a while at this point, over 2 years. Also on top of that, when I take a look at ICP, my perception is that it's still pretty popular in the grand scheme of things. Sure, there's a pullback, but keep in mind, it's still a top 50 project. It's still ranked 43 in the world, or 43rd, I should say. It's not like it's a project that's forgotten about. There's many other projects out there that are like 120th, 200 ranked or whatever. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's going to hypothetically make it through. But the thing is, if they're going to make it through, is something ranked 43rd suddenly not going to make it? I mean, we've seen moments like that in some cases, but if the team hasn't given up, if the amount of holders are still looking pretty okay, if the project overall still has substance, I just find it hard for me to kind of think about just giving up like that. This is my perception. And I'm going to take a look back at this later on, right? If, let's say, hypothetically, the market does change, because it gives me perspective. Like, for instance, things may look a certain way as of right now, but who knows what they could be moving forward. So this is my mindset. I'm just going to stay patient. I'm going to stay the course. That's the way to take a look at it. I'm just going to stay on my path. However, nothing I say is financial advice. I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day. And I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.